Hi guys, hope you guys are doing well. Been a good day today, in a good mood, feeling good about things in general. So I thought I'd do a video, probably do a few videos today to be fair. But I thought I'd share with you guys how this all happened. If you've watched some of the other videos, you will know by now that I was recently diagnosed with bowel cancer. And in this video, what I want to look at is how that happened, how something which seemed like such a really small physical problem ended up turning into being something quite big. So I thought, I want to share that experience with you guys and stress how important it is to go and see your doctor when things are wrong, and if those things continue being wrong, to keep going back. Don't listen to what they say, keep going back. If they tell you it's fine and you still don't feel right, keep going back. The doctor says the same thing, go to a different doctor, but keep doing it, because if you don't and they are wrong, it could be something that quite literally takes you out of the world. So that's what this video is going to be about. What happened, how this all started. Okay, so fairly fit guy, worked quite a lot. At the time I was going to the gym quite a lot. Started to get tired, started to feel run down all the time. The moment I opened my eyes I felt tired, and this was over days, maybe a couple of months or so, and I just thought it was because of the amount of hours I was doing at work, which I was doing a hell of a lot of hours, long shifts, due to the nature of what I do, but I just started to feel run down. I took a trip to IKEA with work, things that I needed to pick up, and while I was putting these things in the back of the car, I just passed out. I just hit the floor. I can remember my legs feeling a bit shaky, and then I can remember opening my eyes and I was on the floor, and there was a guy there pretty much helping me up. Really nice dude, to be fair. He helped me put the IKEA stuff in the back of my car. I kind of sat there for 15 or 20 minutes or so, and then I felt absolutely fine. Drove home. Didn't tell Lisa, my partner, my fiance, about it. Didn't really think it was a big deal. Just kind of did the man thing and just kind of got on with it. Woke up the next morning, still feeling a little bit tired, but a lot better. Got up, went to the toilet, passed out in the toilet, didn't really know where I was, tried to make it back to bed, and passed out a few feet away from my bed. Yeah, it was a strange kind of passing out, as they probably all are. As I passed out, I couldn't really figure out, as I was falling, which way was up, which way was down. Yeah, it wasn't nice, shall we say. We called an ambulance. The ambulance guys came out, checked me over, had a high temperature. They couldn't really find anything wrong with my vitals, and basically said that I had something called labyrinthitis, and potentially some kind of viral infection as well. Labyrinthitis, they told me, it affects your ears and your balance, and that's why I was passing out. Over the next few weeks, things got a lot worse. I couldn't walk from the bedroom to the bathroom. I couldn't walk more than a few meters without either passing out or without feeling like I'd just run a marathon. Struggled to catch my breath, struggled to kind of be super aware of what was going on around me. I would just pass out. I would walk downstairs, and I'd have to sit down for literally 15-20 minutes just to get my breath back, to either go back upstairs or to get a drink or to go and make food. That got worse. I would pass out more and more. It would take me longer and longer to get my breath back. Obviously I got worried. In this meantime, I was still speaking to my doctors, and they were both saying, yeah, labyrinthitis, this is basically what it does to you. And they said that the effects that I was having are something that they call vertigo. Vertigo as a result of the similar feelings that if you're high up and you start to get nervous, you start to get dizzy, if you're scared of heights. So that's basically what they said. Now, I was medicated for this, for vertigo, for labyrinthitis, and it didn't really make a difference. After a while, close to a month, my doctor said something's not right here. This isn't a viral infection. This is something else, because your symptoms should have slowed down by now or gone, and you should be out of breath just from walking around. So I got quite scared at this point, and she basically said, come in today, because she wanted to take some bloods. I remember sitting in the waiting room, struggling to get my bearings. She called me in, I went in, and just walking from the waiting room to her office, which wasn't far at all, was yards, and I was pretty much passing out in the chair. She suggested that it might be anemia, that somehow I might have got became anemic over a period of time. I did explain to her that I had piles, which they were aware about, but weren't causing me too much of a problem. There wasn't heavy bleeding. There was a bit of blood, but there wasn't heavy bleeding or anything like that. So she took blood. She said over the next 2 or 3 days I would get a phone call back and they would know what's going on with me. However, after a couple of hours going to that place, going to the doctors, I got a phone call from a doctor in Middlesbrough, some kind of emergency doctor, who basically said that I need to get to A&E right now. He was very worried, very concerned, and I needed to just get up, get my stuff and go. I explained to him that I live in Stafford and our A&E closes at like 10 o'clock and they stop letting people in at like, not, I think it's 8:30, 9 o'clock or something like that, so that I couldn't go. He said to wait till the morning to go up the next day, straight away, 8 o'clock, as soon as A&E opens, but if I was to pass out again, to ring an ambulance. What he basically says to me is that a hemoglobin count, which is obviously to do with your blood, somebody my age, 39, should have a healthy hemoglobin count of 135 to 155. They'd taken blood and mine was 38, which is really, really low, really dangerously low. So yeah, so obviously I was quite scared, quite bricking it. Went to hospital the next day. My condition got really bad. Lisa, my fiance, had to dress me, had to drive me there, had to pretty much put me in a wheelchair and push me to the doors, push me into A&E. I was seen straight away. There was no waiting, there was no messing. They already had all my records from what was going on and the results of the blood test. The blood test, as I say, came back that low with the hemoglobin count, but also they were saying that I'm pretty much anemic. There's no iron, or there's a very low iron count in my blood. They were saying somebody with a low iron count, at 15% they would admit to hospital. Mine was 3%. Over the next few hours I ended up having 4 blood transfusions, 1 full iron infusion, and also being put on a paracetamol drip because my temperature kept spiking. It kept going high and they didn't really know why. It was in the high 70s, early 80s, but there was no real reason for it. I didn't particularly feel hot. At one point I was in the hospital bed. They pulled the curtains across and there was a fan on either side of the bed and a fan in front of me to keep me cool. And I was freezing at one point. I felt really, really, really cold, but there wasn't anything they could do because they needed to get my temperature to a certain point so that they could start the next transfusion. So we had that. The next morning they took bloods and my bloods had started to go up. They went up to 80 something. I forget what exactly, but they had gone up, and they were happy to send me home. However, they were really, really concerned about why have I suddenly become anemic? Why was there such a little amount of blood in my body? So they all organised for me to have scans, basically have a camera down my throat into my stomach to see if there was any bleeding there, and also a camera up my bum to see if there was anything bleeding, to have a look at the piles, to see if there was something called polyps, which I'll talk about in another video, and to see what was going on basically. So they did all of that, and pretty much straight away found a tumour. Now the tumour, they said, was 2 to 3 centimetres inside my anal passage basically, so 2 to 3 centimetres up my bum. So they found the tumour, had a look at the tumour, had more scans, planned to remove the tumour through an operation, cut it up, send the tumour off, or parts of the tumour off, to see if it was cancerous. Now what it said is, from the scans, that it was precancerous, but the scans are only 95% accurate, which is still pretty high odds, so I was quite confident that I would be okay. They sent off the scans, they sent off tissue samples from the tumour that at this point had been removed, and called us in, and unfortunately it wasn't good news. It is cancerous. It was what they call T1. You have T1 to T4, which is quite a low level cancer, if there's such thing, but then that's graded into categories as well. So I have bowel cancer T1, which means they found it really, really earlier, but I also have the type of cancer that absolutely does spread if treated. And it's in quite a dangerous area because it's around my bowel. It's in my bowel, and around your bowel, not too far from there, if the cancer decided to go out the back, you have your pancreas. Pancreatic cancer is very, very, very aggressive, even for young people. Yeah, it's probably one of the worst cancers to get. It could potentially also go into other organs. It could have gone into my, it can go into my liver from my bowel. It can go into my pancreas, as I've said. It can also go into my prostate and other organs around there. So, absolutely has to be treated. My course of treatment is going to be chemotherapy, radiotherapy. Then there's a recovery period of that. Then I will have a stoma bag, a permanent stoma bag added, because lower bowel, lymph nodes, everything around there pretty much has got to come out. And I'll do some videos when that time comes as well, around about the operation as well, but also living with a stoma bag on, and how that's going to be, and how that's going to change my perspective of myself, or how that will affect, which is probably a better word because I'm not going to let it change, how that will affect my life. So yeah, that's basically how this, I cannot stress how important it is when you've got that little problem to go to the doctors. Go to the doctors, talk to him, forget the embarrassment side of it. I've already spoken to people that had family, had friends that got bowel cancer, or got piles, didn't do anything about it, were too embarrassed, and by the time they realised it was cancer, it was too late. They're not around anymore. I was quite lucky where I found it. I didn't take no for an answer. I kept pushing it, and arguably it saved my life. So I wanted to share that with you guys, so that you kind of understand where I'm coming from, again, why I'm doing these videos, and hopefully these things will help you guys get off your arse and go to the doctors and tell someone. Forget embarrassment, forget the shame of it, forget how awkward it makes you feel when talking about it, because when you're too ill for it to do anything about it, the embarrassment, your pride won't save your life. Won't stop you from dying. To be quite frank with you, it will not stop you from dying. Cancer doesn't give a shit. If it be allowed, it doesn't give a damn about your pride. If you let it, it will take your life. It's as simple as that. And it ain't worth dying for, just for the fact that you didn't want to go to your doctors. Yeah? But just for the fact that you didn't want to tell somebody what was actually happening. Forget all of that. It doesn't matter in comparison. So thanks for watching. Again, as I say on all my videos, I will post links and stuff to Facebook and or Instagram or whatever. So if you guys have got anything that you want to ask but are embarrassed or whatever, I do some videos on it, and I try and answer as many of those questions. Hopefully this has helped you with things that you're about to go through or have gone through, or you know somebody who is about to go through these things. So thanks for watching. Do another video soon. Really appreciate the help and the support. You know how to subscribe and all that stuff. I don't need to tell you. Thank you very much.